Hi, my name is Claire McCahan. I'm a mezzo-soprano and I live in Boulder, Colorado. Although I've spent the majority of my training focusing on the classical singing technique, I love to branch out into other genres such as folk, musical theater, and jazz. And I wanted to give you a little insight on the technical and stylistic choices I make when I do that genre changing and bending. So here are some examples based on my personal experience of what I do. When I sing jazz, I use a combination of vibrato and non-vibrato singing, which you might have heard of called straight tone. I also use a lot of improvisation and playing with the colors of the words in order to really emphasize the emotional content behind the text in the song. When jazz singers are able to play with all of these different elements, even though a song has been done by a number of different singers, they're able to put their own stamp and mark of style on the piece. The example I will give for you is a song by Thelonious Monk called Round Midnight, and I highly recommend you check out the Ella Fitzgerald version because it is divine. So here in the first section, you'll hear the main melody, and then I'll give a brief intro of the second section, which allows me to play a little bit with the main theme. It begins to tell round midnight, round midnight. I do pretty well to laughter sundown. Supper time, I'm feeling sad, but it really gets bad round midnight. Memories always start round midnight. Haven't got the heart to stand those memories when my heart is still with you. And old midnight knows it too. This use of non-vibrato singing to bring out heightened points of emotion or emphasis was also used in the earliest opera compositions in the 17th century. Along with other Baroque compositions, this pull of tension and release in the music allows us to emphasize the emotional complexity of what's going on in the text. In this next example, I'll sing a part of Ottavia's aria from the Coronation of Poppaea, in which Ottavia is lamenting her banishment from Rome. L'aria che d'ora in ora riceverai miei fiati, li potrà per nome del cor mio a veder abbracciare li potremo. Back in Monteverdi's time, audiences wouldn't have needed to look at a libretto or a script in order to understand the words that were being said in the opera. Musical theater offers contemporary audiences a very similar experience. They don't need to read the words, they follow the drama as it happens. The technical aspects of singing musical theater, especially in America, have changed drastically over the past 60 years, with older, more golden age material utilizing a more classical technique. But now a lot of contemporary musical theater utilizes what we know as the singer's belt, which tends to have a brighter timbre, a more buzzy sound to it, and it still utilizes that non-vibrato singing at the very ends of phrases in the ballads right before it releases into the vibrato, which ends up having the same effect. Also, with the use of microphones, singers in musical theater are able to have amplified spoken words as well as sung to offer a different range of dynamics in their singing. Though I'd love to sing for you Defying Gravity from Wicked, musical theater singing requires years of its own training, as the muscle functioning of the larynx is different than with classical singing. So the musical theater that I sing tends to utilize more of a classical timbre or a mix of head and chest voice. The example I will give for you is a song from Marcia Norman's adaptation of The Secret Garden. It's Martha's song, and you can still hear the use of straight tone and chest voice and mixing as I try to replicate a more spoken quality and then transition into a more lyrical quality. This extension of chest voice into head voice and that mix is generally what you hear more in musical theater. When you see the storm is coming, see the lightning part the skies, it's too late to run, there's terror in your eyes. What you do then is remember this whole thing you heard me say. It's that storm, not you, that's bound to go away. Hold on to someone standing by. Hold on, don't even ask how long or why. Child, hold on to what you know is true. Hold on till you get through. Child, oh child, hold on. This type of singing takes fine coordination of the vocal fold muscles in order to sing well. Similarly, opera singers will spend years training, just like professional athletes, in order to develop the coordination and stamina to produce the extremely dramatic sounds that you hear opera singers make. In opera, there is emphasis on the text, but it depends in which era you're talking about, whether the melody or the storytelling takes more prominence. In general, though, opera singers are expected to have a smooth and clean sound from the low end of their range all the way to the high end of their range, with the emphasis being on legato singing, continuous spin, and connection to the emotion through that spin and sound. The example I will give for you is from the classical era and a Mozart opera called Le Nozze di Figaro, or The Marriage of Figaro. In this aria, Cherubino is lamenting not having a girlfriend, and you can hear the dramatic changes in range in this aria. Non so più cosa son, cosa faccio, ora fuoco, ora sono di ghiaccio, ogni donna cangiar di colore, ogni donna mi fa palpitar, ogni donna mi fa palpitar, ogni donna mi fa palpitar. Folk music has come to represent a wide range of types of music, including Americana, bluegrass, the blues, not to mention traditional folk music from around the world. So it's hard to really pinpoint a singular technique that's used for everything, as the focus tends to be more on the individual. In general, folk music is intended to be sung by a variety of people, untrained and trained voices alike, and will usually have a verse, chorus, verse format and is passed down from generation to generation depending on its cultural background. If you look at an artist like Rhiannon Giddens, she represents the wide berth of expressions of folk music that has come to represent the American folk experience. The song that I will sing for you, I learned listening to Peter, Paul, and Mary growing up, as my mom was a troubadour of the 1960s in California. This is If I Had a Hammer, which was written by Pete Seeger in 1949 as a part of more of a political folk regeneration movement in America. Well, I've got a hammer, and I'll hammer in the morning. I'd hammer in the evening all over this land. I'd hammer out justice. I'd hammer out freedom. I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Well, I've got a hammer and I've got a bell and I've got a song to sing all over this land. It's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's the song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Ultimately, all of these techniques and styles serve a very similar purpose: to give a performer a greater array of ways to connect with their audience and to pursue genuine expression, whether it's through a character or singing about a personal experience. The voice has the power to bring people together in that experience of emotion and connect on a human level. That's the power of the voice.